What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. We are going to be pulling the engine out of the Miata tonight, and we're going to start refreshing some gaskets and getting everything sorted out. As you guys know, in last video we found a whole bunch of leaks and some bolts missing, snapped off for the sump, which is why this thing has been leaking so much oil. So we want to sort all of that out. I've ordered new gaskets for the valve cover, also ordered new sump gaskets, and I've also got cam seals and front main seal to do. So we're gonna pull everything out and get everything ready as well for the turbo kit that's coming next week. So let's get that started. Yo, boys! Yo! Send her up! So my game plan with this is we're gonna start off by removing MAF, airflow, like kind of intake piping and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna remove the radiator. We're going to remove probably some other lines and stuff like that around here. Then we're gonna remove the shifter. We're gonna disconnect the power plant beam and all that kind of stuff, and pretty much get everything ready to just pull the whole thing out. I also need to drain oils and stuff out of the trans fluid. Luckily, I still have the bottles for the tranny fluid that we put in there the other day, so that we're not gonna be wasting that and having to rebuy it. But for now, let's just start, get a time lapse going, and get this thing pulled. Taking a quick moment to interrupt the time lapse of the engine pull to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, and that is Speedkana. Speedkana is an online store dedicated to selling really cool stuff for car enthusiasts. They sell a bunch of posters of all the JDM legends out there. Especially my favorite is the GTR, and they sell all of the original paint codes, which I love, and the quality of the prints is amazing. I actually have a few hanged up in my studio. They also have a 50% off sale right now on all of their clothing line, and they just dropped a bunch of new products and accessories on the website, so make sure you go check it out. They've also given you guys a coupon code to save 10% on everything in store, so put SAMMIT in the checkout to take advantage of that. And they've also added a bunch of new shipping options to make things a lot cheaper for you guys. The owner of Speedkana himself is a car enthusiast, so once again, it's things for car enthusiasts, made by car enthusiasts. You can go check them out at speedkana.com, or you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description. Thank you very much to Speedkana, and once again to remind you guys that it is because of amazing companies that sponsor my videos like this as to why I'm able to do epic stuff like this. So go check them out and give them some love. So I think I am finished with everything in the engine bay right now. I've got everything disconnected that I need to, you know, fuel lines, vac lines, accelerator cables and things like that, as well as the wiring loom. I've disconnected all of that. This thing, like this valve cover, was gooped on with so much RTV that at one point the RTV was hanging out of the valve cover and actually stuck to the wiring loom of the injectors. So like there was just gunk out everywhere. I don't know who put this thing together, but they used so much RTV everywhere. Like look at this stuff, just it's gooping out everywhere. So anyways, that aside, oh yep, look, another wiring plug here for the AC that I missed. Need to definitely disconnect that. Glad we looked at that. And I probably need to get to the O2 sensor down there. I've disconnected all the grounds I think of. Obviously before we pull everything, we are going to be looking over, getting Chris to look over everything to make sure I haven't missed a thing. So the last thing we want to do is start yanking on stuff and break it. So now we've got to bring the car up. We've got to disconnect the slave cylinder, drain our fluids, and then disconnect the tail shaft and the power plant frame, and then unbolt the engine mounts. We should be able to pull this thing out. So, I mean, we've only been working on this thing for an hour so far, so I'm pretty happy with the progress. I already as well took out the shifter, so that's all out and on the floor in there. So we're pretty much good to go. Let's send this puppy up and get to the next part. I just got the tail shaft out. I've got everything disconnected with the gearbox, the wiring loom, everything. We've moved the power plant frame over. We are ready to bring this thing down and bring the engine stand in, the engine crane, sorry, and then pull this motor out. I'm about to pull this engine, I'm looking for the crane, and this guy's out here. What are you doing?
I don't know why everyone's so impressed with this. It's just a little burnout.
Damn, it smokes up quick.
Not that bad. I want to buy a brand new tire just to smoke it. See how long.
You should. Dude, just send it. Buy one tomorrow.
Yeah.
The true Australian way. Worry about tires tomorrow. Man, that thing is so quick.
It's amazing.
It's nuts. All right, so we got the crane hooked up and I'm getting ready to start pulling this thing, but I wanted to show you guys, I'm using a good old trick that Oka-chan taught me in Japan. Old accessory belts, as long as they're not cracked and split, they make for really good engine pulling straps. So you just kind of flip them around the loop there and good to pull. So that's what I'm doing. And it looks like we're fighting with engine mounts right now. So we're gonna kind of finesse this thing around and hopefully we get this thing out. I'm a bit worried about the O2 sensor, but I'm pretty sure I disconnected that. Yeah, I did. Confirmed. All right, so now I guess we're gonna get a pry bar and kind of start jiggling this thing around and pop her out. Well, the engine is out. Definitely a learning experience, but it was so simple. I was expecting it to be a lot more difficult, but she's out, and it was pretty simple if I was to be honest. I can now have an opportunity to clean everything up in this bay. We're going to remove all the AC stuff. I've decided to just delete AC. It's going to be easier, get some more airflow and stuff happening, mainly because like this condenser is completely stuffed. There's a big ding in here and there's actually a cut in there. There's dings and cuts and stuff in the lines along here. You can see it's like kinked and damaged and cut there. So like all these lines would have to be replaced and I just don't think it's worth it. And I think if anyone really wants to enjoy the Miata, they can just put the roof down. So I think we're gonna run with that. I was kind of planning to delete AC to begin with anyway, so it's not a big deal. So yeah, we gotta make room for the new turbo kit too. That thing's gonna be lit. So yeah, for now, I think we're gonna get this thing on the ground. I gotta find something to kind of brace the power brace up in the air so we can still push this around without it dragging. So we'll send it up, do that, and then push it out and put it in a car park spot. It looks like I need to do some repairs on the hood as well. One of the studs just freely spun and I had to cut the nut off, so that kind of sucked too, but we'll get that fixed. Marcus, we didn't hurt you. You didn't get hurt at all.
I was not a part of it.
Oh,
if I was,
you'd probably be hurt and bleeding, yeah, for sure. I'm actually surprised I didn't really cut myself up either, so that was actually a bonus. I also will be replacing this sleigh just for safe measures because, I mean, why not? While we've got everything apart, good plan. I'm gonna purple power everything in here, pressure wash it, it's gonna look schmick.
You can delete like 90% of the stuff.
Yeah, I know, I'm so pumped for that. We're gonna have heat though, we definitely want heat and stuff like that, but really? No AC. For sure we're keeping heat.
I don't have heat.
Wait, it's gonna look what? What'd you say?
Fresh.
Oh,
what did I say before?
I made up a word. It sounded like it said schmint. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, schmick. You don't know schmick?
No, what's that?
You know, like it's gonna look schmicky, like schmick.
Never heard that.
You never heard that before? Y'all Americans are crazy, man. All right, so we're lowering this thing now. It was so much fun pulling this out. We just filmed a little funny skit. All I'm gonna say is if you aren't following me on Instagram, you're missing out. So go follow me. But all of that aside, I think I'm gonna take the transmission off and then put everything aside for tonight. But you can see here, there's a bunch of oil leaking down on the top of the trans here. Now this could have been the oil down the bottom that I thought was the rear main leaking again or the sump gasket, but it's definitely leaking out of the cam angle sensor. So that kind of really sucks. Also, this looks a bit dodgy here. We probably should replace that. But yeah, overall now, if we wanted to do like the conversion where we tap into here for the radiators, we could. There's a lot of options now that we have the engine out. We can do a bunch of stuff that I was probably going to not do because like, you know, it was kind of like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't touch it. But now we might as well do everything and refresh everything. I still can't get over all that freaking RTV. What were you thinking? Anyways, you can see here that we need to get a new one of these too. Chris has a couple lying around, so we'll be G there. But yeah, really happy, pulled this thing out. Now let's take the tranny off and then put everything aside.
What do you get? Oh, she out.
I wasn't expecting that.
You weren't expecting that?
No, I just wasn't expecting it to just completely like shoot forward.
I told you it was. I told you to
I
hold
wasn't really holding it. I was like, oh, I think it was, you know.
Well, we got the engine sitting there disconnected from the transmission. You would have seen me pull that off. Got my little baggie full of all the bolts and everything. It's kind of insane when I think about it. I literally pulled the entire transmission and engine, and that's all the bolts. There's probably maybe 20, if that. Kind of crazy to think of, it's so little. You'll probably like my little trick here that I did to hold the power plant frame up. I literally just got a socket extension, put it there in the tunnel, and then just zip tied it up. So, Shield G now. That aside, I think we're gonna send it up because we're only putting 2 cars in tonight. And then tomorrow, I'm gonna push this thing out, purple power everything in the engine bay and pressure wash the crap out of it. Get it looking nice and clean in there. And with that, I think we're gonna head home.
All right, guys, so we're back at the house now, and I have to say, epic day. We pulled the engine, got my work cut out for me tomorrow with a bunch of gaskets coming. We're gonna get that thing looking epic. Probably gonna be saying some colorful words while I'm pulling out all the snap bolts that are in the engine block for the oil pan, because the previous owner or the previous mechanic that worked on it was like, oh, the oil pan's leaking. I'm just gonna crank on these bolts on the oil pan as hard as I can, and then when they snapped, he just kind of globbed RTV everywhere. So hopefully we can save everything. We probably don't need to use helicoils. We'll probably just use the welder and get all of those bolts out, no problem. But yeah, anyways, I'm looking forward to tomorrow, making that thing great again and making sure we fix every single oil leak, because I want to make sure whoever wins the Miata isn't going to get an oil leaking piece of crap, because that would suck. And I'm definitely not about that. Since we're talking about the Miata, I have to remind you, don't forget to get your entries. Head to sammit.net/shop. Grab yourself as much merch as you can. Every 500 yen counts as 1 entry, which is equivalent to about $4.30. A lot of people have been asking me like, oh, how does the whole currency thing work? Everything's through PayPal. You don't have to worry about that. The moment you check out, it'll convert everything for you, so don't stress. And some other people also asking about like where in the USA. It is for the United States, as in, you know, not including Hawaii and Alaska. Sorry, guys. But with that, smash that like button, leave a comment, go get yourself your entries for the Miata, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out. Jamata.